stretch of the campaign here, 4 days to go. You have a little bit of a deficit with Trump. What do you do? How do you make that up?
You keep working hard. I mean, it's what I've done my whole life. You just chip and chip and chip until you get there. And we feel good. We feel the excitement around the campaign, the growing momentum. You saw the turnout here today in Southwest Florida. So no one's going to work harder over the next 4 days than we have, and we feel confident that leads to victory.
Senator, are you really telling your Ohio supporters to vote for John Kasich so as to take away from Donald Trump?
Well, I haven't said that. I mean, I'll let John make that argument. All I've said is that I don't blame people in Ohio if they conclude that while they like me, that the only way to stop Trump there is to vote for Kasich. I have made the argument here in Florida that if you're a Ted Cruz supporter or a John Kasich supporter, voting for them in Florida means you're voting for Donald Trump, because I'm the only one that can beat him in Florida.
Senator, if you don't win Tuesday, is your campaign over?
We haven't even thought about that, honestly. We're just focused on winning Florida. I've always felt that the winner of the Florida primary is probably going to be the nominee, and I still feel that way. But, you know, right now we're focused on winning. We don't have any plans to change trajectory right now. Our plan is to head out to Utah and Arizona on Wednesday. So.
Senator, why do you think Jeb Bush hasn't endorsed anyone yet? And do you think he would be doing a disservice to the anti-Trump movement if he doesn't?
Oh, no, listen, look, I didn't endorse anyone in 2012 in the presidential race here in Florida. I think endorsements are just a personal decision that people make, and I respect whatever decision you make. I'd love to have his endorsement. I think it would be helpful, but you know, I understand if he doesn't. It's not a problem with me, and I don't think it's a disservice.
Senator, what do you make of
Donald Trump?
Hold on, I'll get everybody. I promise you.
So Donald Trump has said that his supporters have to be too gentle at his rallies. Another one was bloody today. Has he gone far enough to condemn the violence that's happening?
If you recall yesterday at the debate, I said that presidents can't just say whatever they want. There are consequences to the words of a president. There are consequences to the words of a presidential candidate as well. You have a candidate in Donald Trump who clearly has used language that appeals to anger, and in some instances has actually said to the crowd, no, let's beat this person up, or let's do this, or let's do that. So it shouldn't surprise us that you see a growing amount of violence at some of his events. I would point out there isn't violence at my events. There isn't violence at Ted's events. There isn't violence at a Kasich event. There isn't violence at a Sanders event. There isn't violence at a Clinton event. There's only one presidential candidate who has violence at their events. And I do think Donald needs to realize and take responsibility for the fact that some of the rhetoric he has used could potentially be contributing to this environment that is growing increasingly disturbing for a growing number of Americans.
Do you think you waited too long to attack him for his antics and his language?
Did I wait too long?
Your campaign.
Well, look, I've taken $40 million of attack ads that were spent against me by a number of super PACs. There was at one point in this race that literally 4 separate campaigns were all attacking me. So I spent a lot of time fending off those attacks, not to mention opening up a 5th front. That said, you know, I really honestly believed that all of these things would be things the media would delve into and look at, as they have for all the other candidates in the race. It wasn't until we began raising it, for example, that Trump University was even covered or in depth by anyone. So I think the media needs to look at itself a little bit and say, you know, have they given Donald Trump a free pass for far too long?
So there's a real disdain for Donald Trump.
No, it's not a disdain for Donald Trump, the person. It's just at the end of the day, I believe that his candidacy would be deeply damaging to both the Republican Party and the conservative movement. I believe if he's our nominee, we're going to lose, and we're going to lose badly.
During last night's debate, Donald Trump made the comment that things were much more civil. Do you see that being the case going forward?
I just think it was a policy debate. You know, when I did the debate 2 weeks ago, we count 13 out of the 20 questions I got, more or less, were about Donald Trump. Last night, the questions were about Social Security and flooding in South Florida and, you know, the debt and foreign policy and the military in Cuba. So if you have a policy debate, if you have policy questions, you're going to get a policy debate. If you have a debate that's designed to get the candidates to fight against each other, you're going to get that. So I think it was just a product of the way CNN chose to conduct the debate, and I thought they did a great service for the voter in doing it that way.
Do you regret the name calling, and do you wish that? What has that done to your campaign?
I don't know what it's done to the campaign. I've already said that I don't regret talking about Trump University. I'm going to continue to do that. I don't regret talking about his business failures. I don't regret talking about the fact that I think he's pulling a con on the American people. He isn't who he says he is. What I regret is, I regret responding to his name calling with name calling. And I regret it because it doesn't reflect my faith. It isn't what I'm called to be in my faith. I regret it because it embarrassed my children and my wife, and I won't do it again. I only did it once, and I wish I could take it back. You can't. So you learn from it, you move forward.
Senator,